What's up, AF family? As you already know, we are back again, and this time you can tell a little something in my voice because this episode is called Secrets Revealed. This is personal to me, and it should be personal to you. We're going to start off with this question here. Simply this: why is it okay for our community to justify parents putting stuff in kids' name and they're not even of age yet?
No, that's just wrong.
Wow.
And I can speak from experience. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and say who's on the dais. As always, it's your girl, Superman's daddy, is in the building.
And easy.
And it is your girl, Mrs. Sutton.
Hey, hey, hey.
And this is your man, grown man.
How you doing?
Patience.
I'm so over y'all. No, but good question. In a nutshell, I think it's a form of control.
That's exactly what it is.
Because ultimately, it gives parents a power. Now, maybe I'm just wrong, but this is why I feel like the government should stop giving parents kids social security numbers until that child come of age. Because to be frank, what you really need too tough they social security number for to the point, or it should be a block on being able to use it for bills, utilities, or something of that nature. Because ultimately, it's dumb when you see people who shouldn't have no credit fighting to get things. And I think it's just a way to continue a generational curse of living in poverty.
I agree. And to add to that, Mrs. Sutton, you said that it's a form of control, but it's also a lack of control. Because think about it like this. If you had control of your finances to begin with, if you were good with credit to begin with, why would you need to use your kid's social security number, and their name to get stuff because you're not able to?
Which brings up part 2 of this question. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, but a girl's father had passed away and left her a large inheritance. The mama took the child's birth certificate and her responsible, before I get ahead of myself, went and claimed the inheritance that he left for the child. And when the child found out about it, even though she was 18, but because she didn't have her birth certificate, she didn't find out till later that the mama took it. The mama's claim to fame or stance was he didn't pay child support, so she had every right to do what she did. Thoughts?
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't. Because it was given to the child. Not the child.
And my take is this. I look at it like this. Young lady, wherever you are, whomever you are, obtain an attorney and sue. And if anybody has a problem with what I just said, hey, you know where you can go.
Exactly. Because ultimately, but see, on the flip side of that, as much as I can blame the mother for being greedy, I gotta blame the insurance company. Because what is it about the state? Now, women, y'all ain't about to like what I got to say. and ask me,
Oh, come on, I'm waiting for it.
Mrs. Sutton, do I care? Because I don't.
Oh, Jesus.
Here's the reality. Women in they nether regions think they got power
Mm.
and use it to manipulate the system. Because the state has given it, saying, oh, women got all these rights. Women got these rights. Women got these rights. Now, I understand that we as women, no matter your race, was the last people to receive rights. I get that. But I think in certain situations, we take that crap overboard.
Okay, well, first of all, my issue or my thing with this whole situation is this. So you mean to tell me this mother took this child's birth certificate
Mm-hmm.
with this child's whole name on it
Mm-hmm.
and claimed this inheritance? I'm sorry. Who actually believes for 1 minute that the individual that presented this birth certificate in order to collect said inheritance was 18 years old? Because if you watch the video, trust and believe you me, this heifer looks older than I do.
Well, the whole thing in a nutshell is that goes back to what I'm talking about as far as women and rights. So they probably didn't take a second look, and it could be that the child is not 18. Therefore, it was up to the parent and the deceased parent to lock that down, because unfortunately, as somebody who dealt with something of this nature, when you're a minor and a parent passes away, you don't have no rights to that situation. If the parent does not lock it in to say that nobody can touch this, and it is not in legal documentation that the child can't touch it, no guardian can touch it until that child reaches a certain age, then it is up to grabs for the person who is the custodial parent or the custodial guardian. So unfortunately, this had to be a situation, because if that child was 18, they would have never gave it to the mother.
She wasn't 18 before the video.
That had to be a minor.
Okay.
That had to be a minor.
Okay.
And unfortunately,
She didn't find out till she was 18, though.
But unfortunately, she has no claims. Because
So they can legally rob me.
yes. And I will tell you how I know this. So my father was paying child support. Now, let me throw this disclaimer out there. My mother never put my dad on child support.
So he put himself on it.
No, he didn't. When my mother passed, my guardian decided to seek child support, which by law was in her legal right. Okay? As a result, when I became of legal age, this is when we'll nicely say that the dookie hit the fan, in which, because there was rearages, they suspended my father's license until he paid up what he was supposed to pay up in order to get that stuff back. Okay? He contacted me at the time. I think I was maybe early to mid 20s. He contacted me, and what he stated to me was, they're taking money out of my check for child support. I know you can use the money. Contact said guardian so that you can get that money. When I contacted said guardian said all of this was a lie. He owed all this money in child support, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I contacted child support clearly stated to me that it doesn't matter how old I get, that money is owed to the person whose care I was in at the time.
Wow.
Which means that your child can be 50 and 60. If the other non-custodial parent owes child support, that unless you're just one of those generous parents that just decides to give it to the child, you don't have to give that child nothing. That money is owed to quote unquote said parent and or guardian. Why did that piss me off? Because
They get
said
away with it. Let's take a moment.
all right.
Mm.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. So that same legal ramification applies to every situation that has to do with a minor child and a legal guardian. As long as that child is a minor, if there are no ramifications that blocks said guardian from accessing child's money, then it kind of is one of those situations. It is what it is. This is why children who have inheritances and they lost, even it could be grandparents. It does not matter. If that child is a minor and there was no legal grounds to say that this child cannot touch it, nobody else can access it
Until they become
of age. If that person can prove that they are said guardian or said parent or that child is in care and that they have usage for that money, they will give it to them.
Even if they want to spend it on themselves.
It doesn't matter. The government
That's dope.
the government does not make somebody prove what they spend it on. And that's why I hate child support. That's why I don't agree with none of that stuff, because again, and I've said it in certain episodes and I'll say it again. When it comes down to it, first of all, child support, depending on the person, because it's not the case with every person that pays child support, but the majority that pay child support, one, does not equate to the day-to-day needs of a child.
Come on, somebody.
Of a child in your home. I'm sorry, it doesn't. When you start factoring in clothes, shoes, hair, food, basic essentials, school, extracurricular activities, you are paying money out of your pocket pretty much on a daily basis. Child support comes in per pay period, and typically it is only a certain percentage of that said non-custodial parent's income. So if you're thinking about $200 every 2 weeks, that's $400. If you have a little child, that's daycare, and that might cover a week of daycare.
Mm-hmm.
That is maybe, at the cost of living now, that may be 2 boxes of diapers.
Yep.
That may
If you're lucky.
be 3 cans of formula.
And it all depends on the formula, because if the child can't stomach Similac, Enfamil is much more expensive.
Exactly. So therefore, as much as a lot of women like to run around and claim, oh, child support, no, be honest, child support don't cover not even a 10th dependent. Now, that is not always the case, because you do have situations where people are paying substantially more than what they should ever be paying.
Which is getting ready to lead into this next conundrum, because I believe you said it before, and I don't think we ever really truly dive into it. For those that believe, well, let me start off, because I don't want to get ahead. I want to make sure I say this correct, because I don't want people accusing us of something. If you're receiving a large sum and you feel, or the mother feels, that it's not enough, and then go and put that guy on child support, why is it okay in our community for that woman to get mad and get upset when the father only does what the government tells him he's allowed to do? When he was doing
In a
more
word,
before.
in a word, greedy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that is.
That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
That's
It goes back to what I stated. A lot of women believe that what's between their legs should give them extra power. And because a lot of the government makes it that way, that's what it is. I'm sorry. I have made this statement several different times. My husband and I sat down and had this conversation even before we got married. And I said, I get pregnant. You don't want to be a part of the child's life. I'm not going to force you. I'm not calling you. I'm not checking for you. But you better believe neither is my child. We good over here. Why did I make that statement? Because there's too many women out here that get with people just to have a child with them, just so they can have, quote unquote, what? Financial security.
Mm-hmm.
Not even
benefits.
there you go. Not
Come
even
on.
understanding that this quote unquote financial security is one gonna leave you eventually, because what people don't understand is the older your child gets, the less you get.
Hello.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
so let's
Yep.
start. Huh?
I know that very well.
Yes. The older they
I do
get,
too.
the less you get. You get
Exactly.
more for babies
Mm-hmm.
and toddlers than you do for
For teenagers.
teenagers, because
School ages.
school ages, you get less, you do not get more. Let's start there. And that's with
Right.
everything. That becomes child support. That's for people who want to sit up there and collect all these
Come
government benefits and don't understand that for whatever reason they feel like children get older and eat less. That's why you get less food stamps. And this is this. The older they get, the less they get.
Right.
So what I have never been able to understand is why, especially in the African American community, and I just have to be honest, the greed of it all. But I'm going to tell you why there's a greed. Because grandmama and great grandmama told the next generation, and generation told the next one, that as a woman, you got certain responsibilities. And I'm going to list them. They was taught that you are to cook, that you are to clean, that you are to be sexually available whenever this man wants to be sexual, that you are not to say a word if this man is cheating on you, because as long as he is bringing home the money, you are to play your position.
Which means turns a blind eye and a deaf ear.
There you go. And because that statement has been carried from generation to generation, women have felt that their only responsibility is to cook, clean, and be good in bed, and bear as many children as her body would allow her to have.
Now, I got a question. And this is really going to be a problem. But like I said at the start of the show, this is Secrets Revealed. Because of that conundrum, because of those teachings, how did we go from what you're stating to what we see now, which is, yeah, well, I can't put it no other way. I got to be raw. Women are using their lower regions as a way to ensure two things: their financial stability and control.
Yeah, because regardless to how you look at it, prostitution has been taught for generations. It just wasn't taught in the way that we see it in the open, as far as standing on the corner and soliciting people.
Well,
But
why you say that, I'm 100% backing you. Believe me, I'm not. When I refer to that, you see it all the time, whether you're on YouTube or TikTok or any form of social media.
it's prostitution.
Why is it that it's okay? And a lot of men has been demonized for this. We're just going to put it out there. Men are attracted to what we see.
Yes, we are.
And because of that, there's two things we're always going to lose at. Women uses, not all of them, but 90% of them, uses what between their legs to control a man and to secure a position. How many people in the past decade or so have went to jail because when they don't get, or what they ask for don't turn out to be what they want, then the first thing they holler is what? He raped me. But you proposed a position. If you can get me into this position, or you pay me this amount of money, I'll give you this.
That's my point. My point is, it's prostitution no matter how you look at it. And it is something that's been taught for generations. It goes back to say women were designed, you hear men say it.
Yeah.
I want my woman in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant. So it ain't just women. Men have the mindset to take care of a prostitute. Because this is what the trained mind says. I'm a man. My job is to provide, protect, and give provision.
Don't jump ahead of me because I'm
bring-
coming up with that.
I bring the money in, and because I set the money on the table, you not worried about no mortgage. You're not worried about no lights. You're not worried about no gas. You're not worried about no water. Everything else in the house is your responsibility, including my seeds that you sacrifice your life to bring into the world. Therefore, my only responsibility is to work and get laid. The woman's responsibility is everything else in between that.
Well, since you said that, I have to go here because
Wait. We gotta give Superman's daddy and grown men the opportunity to jump in here. Are y'all disagreeing with anything I'm saying? What's going on?
Okay, I'm gonna say this, and some people do think that way, but others don't.
Yep.
As far as the so-called gender roles,
Yeah.
and what it is, because like I always said, in a marriage and everything, a marriage is an institution, and husband and wife are roles, just like what you have at work, and you have to fulfill those positions.
Yeah.
And take on that role. And I strongly believe that there is teamwork.
Come on.
That one responsibility isn't greater than the other, and one
Yes,
should
sir.
take care of it just as much as the other.
Yeah.
But it's just the mentality and how one was trained. Because of course, most of the women were trained to be the homemaker
Yep.
and be the secretary. We as men, we were always trained. Basically, women were trained to be inside, while us men were trained to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But I I believe that, man is head of a home. So it is his job to make sure, as the head, that everything does get done.
Yes, sir.
That is overseen. Because yes, the wife is more so the vice president.
Yep.
He's the president, she's the vice president. So, she's the second in command. But to just like, I'm going to take a military experience, for example. You have a ship. You have the commanding officer, who's the head, and then you have the executive officer, who's second in command. But they work together to ensure that ship sails, that everything is in order. So it's the same thing in marriage and in different roles. In that case.
Yeah.
And I will say, grown man, I totally agree with that, because I think that's what we miss, and not just in marriage, but in life, period. Everything requires you to be able to work with someone else.
What?
And that this goes to that whole saying, oh, me, myself, and I don't need nobody. Yeah, we're not designed that way.
Which brings me to my next point, and grown man hit it on the head. This is for the ladies of the panel. We're going here. I said this is Secrets Revealed. Why are men trained to solely go out, work, and provide the house? Why can't we be vulnerable? Why can't we share our feelings? Because the second that we share our feelings or become vulnerable and talk about our mental health, we're publicly demonized. We're castrated and told that we're less than the men because we have feelings. We're told that our only responsibility in life is to work until we die to make sure that women and children is taken care of.
Superman Daddy?
Okay. Well, me personally, I feel it depends on who you're dealing with. Because it's almost kind of like trying to paint everybody with that same guilty brush, if you will. I've never had a problem with, men being able to express their feelings and things of that nature, but I guess you say I've always questioned, like, why is it that men are looked down upon, as far as what you stated, King Solomon Jr. And for me, let me add another question to that. And there's a movie that came out like some years ago, like back in the 80s or whatever, more or less like this man was married, had a wife and everything like that. And he was constantly going to the police, to report domestic violence against his wife. They all but laughed at him. Right. It's like they didn't take him seriously or what have you. So it's like, where does this mindset come from that, only females can be emotional? Men are just as emotional, if not more so.
Come on.
And they love just as hard, if not harder. Because then what happens is you start to get into this whole thing when your feelings get involved and things of that nature, and somebody decides to play with your feelings or they try to walk away and you're not ready to let go. Then we get into this whole mentality of, well, if I can't have you, nobody else can have you.
Woo!
I say that I would totally agree. I totally agree.
Jesus.
I think the issue with that is men are quote unquote, and this is not an insult, but men are deemed quote unquote to be the stronger vessel.
Yes.
So because of that, cops, everything else, do not ever believe in life that a woman who is considered the weaker vessel is ever strong enough to overtake a man.
Really?
Police
Ask
officers.
Samson that.
Firefighters,
This can be
construction workers.
exactly. This can be Rasputia in the flesh,
How you do it?
and they are never gonna believe that she's strong enough to overtake a man.
Exactly.
It's a sad situation, but it's
It really is.
but it's a reality. Now, I'm going to tap into the emotional aspect. I can only speak for me.
Right.
As a woman, if my significant other doesn't display any emotion, I don't want you.
I'm going to raise an eyebrow.
Because to me, that's scary. That's like playing with them quiet people in the background, and you think because they quiet, they not going to do nothing.
You know what I've always said, Mrs. Sutton? Here's my thought process or whatever. I was taught this growing up. It says, it's always the quiet ones you got to watch out for because you never know what's going through their mind.
Exactly. So if
Period.
I'm with that, because if you don't show no emotion, that to me signifies that you're emotionally unstable.
And at any moment, you could explode.
Exactly. And because you're not processing your feelings, I don't know what I'm up against. So for that,
And I don't want to catch any backlash. I don't want to catch any kind of backlash or what fallout.
right, for
that,
your unresolved
you know,
issues. Exactly. Because
that was meant for somebody else.
right, because our men are taught that they aren't to cry. That they and you see, even today, you see women training their sons like that. If the boy falls on the ground, it's get up, dust yourself off, wipe your face. You a man, don't cry.
You all right? You all right?
But if a daughter cries, you want to run and you want to pick her up and you want to coddle her. What a lot of women don't understand is what you're creating is a person who will never be able to communicate their emotions in a healthy and stable way.
Exactly.
I believe.
Go ahead.
I believe like this. Having emotions isn't a problem. It is stabilizing those emotions. Because if, let me see, Beauty and the Beast, let's take that old classic. If we sitting up here watching Beauty and the Beast and you bust out crying,
all right, Martin and Gina.
The way I'm going to look at this is I'm going to be like, okay, you got to be kidding me, right? But
why?
Because
think about it. Look at it. No offense, but while I love that movie, and I'm sorry, but I'm more partial to the animated version of it. And dude, like Martin said on his show all those years ago, old boy was checked up. Did you see him before?
Yeah.
You know, exactly.
Yeah,
So
but
it was like, okay.
But my thing is, if you are crying or you are hurt based off of something that has occurred, I get you. I'm a hold you down 10 times fold. But what we not gonna do is just be walking around here emotionally unstable, and that goes two ways. It means either you can't process your emotions, or because you were never
You're not
taught.
allowed to.
Huh?
We're not allowed to.
Or you're not allowed to.
Right, or you're not allowed to. So because of that, it's like you either fall on one end of the spectrum where you crying about everything because you was never allowed to display them, or you don't know how to balance them. So now you've just become this robot, And
Yes.
there is no emotion whatsoever.
Which leads me into my next point. And this might sound heartless, but I gotta do what I gotta do.
All right, Kanye West.
Funny.
That was my song, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah. Why is it that men, and I want to be careful with how I say this.
Sure you do.
Okay.
Not really, but I'm just want to make sure I put it in there because I don't want getting texts about what I said.
We don't ever want to offend anybody, but we still want to get the point across.
Exactly. Why
Got
is
it.
it?
Now, is this
okay?
a general answer? Is this general or?
Yeah, this is definitely
who do you
general.
want to answer this? Okay.
Definitely
Okay.
general, because I already know my brother. He's about to go off. Why is it okay for men not to have feelings, not to be cared for, and to be publicly demonized, whether that's by the women in the community who turns the kids into his biggest heartbreak, which is going to come up in the next, after we get through with this, the police and the government. Why is it okay that all we are in life is an ATM machine?
Grown man.
Well, okay. It goes back to the house because, like us growing up,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't really too many 2-parent households,
Amen.
and and then it's the generational. I want to say curse or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and what the women had passed down through the generations, what they were taught. Hey, men this, men that. It goes back to feminism. It goes back to feminism. We don't need men for this. Men are weak. Men are beneath us. Because, in my experience, I can say that most of the women in my life, like teachers, authorities, neighbors, they always tend to talk down on me.
Don't leave your brother out.
You too. But I'm like, okay, we're gonna say most men.
Yeah.
We were always talked down to by all the women in authority.
Yeah.
So we were mentally, emotionally, psychologically abused all the way around.
Yeah.
And this is the state of mind of men today. Why men are emotionally damaged.
Yes, sir.
Why we men are so angry.
Yeah.
Because we watch the favoritism of the parent and our sisters, and
I guess-
that created a divide.
Woo. Come on.
And I can definitely see that because of the simple fact, constantly, and especially as African American men,
Yeah.
constantly being told that you aren't crap, you'll never be crap, you never were crap. It's like after a while, you actually start to believe the hype.
Come on.
You really start to believe the hype because it's like if somebody keeps on, peddling that philosophy, no matter what it is, toxicity, whatever. After a while, you actually start to believe that, and you get down so deep that you can't pull yourself out. So then, when somebody comes along and you start to open up to them a little bit and everything, and they're just trying to get to know who you are, and when you start actually expressing yourself in things of that nature, and it's like, wow, but if you aren't anything or whatever, question, why is everybody trying to be like this if we ain't crap?
Yeah, and the topic goes like this. Unfortunately, we just got to be honest, and
Your secrets
and,
revealed.
and,
Come on.
and let's just go off into this. The problem comes with this. A lot of women, mothers, generations feel as though if their son does not go into some kind of physical, athletic ability in order to bring about getting them out of poverty, their son ain't nothing. So if your son don't become a football player, if your
Basketball, baseball,
son don't
any
major sport that allows him
And/or a successful business. Don't leave that out.
no more African
No, it's
American
sports first.
more
Yeah, it's sports
African
first.
more African American women push for their boys to be athletes more than they push for them to be anything else. They don't push
And you know why?
Come on.
Not only because of the money standpoint, but I'm gonna tell you this here: if you follow sports, have you ever noticed in the draft, like they get drafted, who's the first? Who's one of the first people they thank?
Mom.
At award show.
That's if she's not sitting right there. That's if she's not sitting right there on his side, or at least right there in the audience. When he gets that, when the press is there and he makes the decision about which team he's going to play for and everything like that, grown man, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
To expound on that, and I'm about to let y'all have this because y'all about to come out the gate with this. You ready?
Hold on, King Solomon, hold that thought for just 1 minute,
Okay.
and let's piggyback off of that. Why is mom sitting right there?
Huh.
Because guess what? She can use the biggest guilt tripper because I carried you in my body for 9 months.
Say it loud for the people in the
And I
back.
made the sacrifices of taking you to practice. And even though we didn't have the money, I made the sacrifice for you to go to football camp and basketball camp. The reality,
I bought sports equipment.
right?
I bought shoes.
And the
I bought
reality
this,
of it is, this is what's the saddest part about it. There are more African American men that are illiterate
Yeah.
because of this
Yes.
of this stigma. Because
Exactly.
women don't push education on men
As much
like
as
they
they do
push it
girls.
on girls. As a result, you got men out here who cannot articulate, who can't read, who can't write, who can't speak properly, because the only thing they were ever told in life is as long as you become a professional athlete,
ATM.
you are set for life. And here's where the lie is. You don't factor in if they get hurt.
They don't
Thank
care.
you.
I gotta interject. They don't care.
Oh, they care because the money dries up. But what they
Yes.
don't prepare for is the fact of, that's like, for instance, and I'll just use this example. My husband and I both band, instruments, sports related stuff, all of that. So if our children take an interest in that stuff, mind you, I said if, because I'm not going to ever be
I'm
that
not
kind of
forcing them
parent to say, oh, because daddy played drums, you have to play drums. Oh, because
Come on, somebody.
mommy was flag girl, you got to be flag girl. No. Whatever your interests are, that's what we're going to support. But
Exactly.
if you take a liking to this stuff and this is what you want to do, my first responsibility as your parent is to push academics. Therefore, I don't care how important a football game is and you want to play the drums. I don't care what major scout is coming to scout to recruit you to play on a college band.
Your grades fall.
If your grades ain't up to par, guess who not gonna be in them stands?
You can't get in there.
Guess who ain't gonna be in them
It takes grades
stands?
to get there.
Yep.
You
Right.
nope.
It takes grades to get there.
Because you not, no, absolutely not. Because the sad part is, because of this crap of the No Child Left Behind laws,
And notice it's only in the black community.
the
Pretty much.
No Child Left Behind laws gives African American children a scapegoat, because it doesn't promote education. It literally gives teachers hell because it says you can't fail our top player.
So, let me ask you this question. And again, we're expounding on expounding. That is so true. So why, again, is it okay for our community? Oh boy, I'm headed right down this road and I can't stop. Don't care. Why is it okay? A mother has 2 sons. No matter what the situation is, she ran daddy off, she cheated, whatever. If one of the sons is athletic, you know where I'm going with this, Miss Sutton. And the other one is a musician, but they really had their foot on. Why is it okay for our community to put all our support around the basketball player, around the football player, around the baseball player?
Because sports is going to generate millions.
Exactly.
Okay.
And because musicians come a dime a dozen.
Exactly.
Now, part 2 to this.
Well, athletes do too.
Yeah. Now, here's the second part.
9 times out of 10, think about it. How many people that major in music in college actually go on to pursue that degree? 9 times out of 10, what happens with that? They don't come out. They don't become professional musicians. Typically, they end up becoming teachers.
Yep.
Now, let me expound on that. What you just said. Come on.
Yeah. Versus those athletes that, depending if they're in the right place at the right time with the right scouts, we can just bypass college and go straight to the pros.
Which is a dumb move. And I'm going to put this disclaimer out there for all parents. Please hear me. Stop allowing these young black men to skip college and go straight into the pros.
Can I tell you why they do that?
No, hold on. Because this is what you're doing. College football, basketball, track, all of that conditions the body for professional athletes.
Now,
when you skip that portion and you don't allow them to attain an education and you don't allow them to get a degree in something that they can fall back on in case they are injured or hurt, you are cutting your own self off at the foot, since you're basically using your child as a sugar daddy anyway.
Now, I gotta go here. You brought it up. And this wasn't even my next point, but since you brought it up, let's go here. The reason why that a lot of folks do that, and this ain't just a cultural thing anymore, this is a worldwide issue. Because, what is the word that you use? Husbands and daughter wives. Yeah, husbands and daughter wives. I might be saying it wrong, but talk to Superman and Miss Sutton about that later. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Husbands and daughter wives. Yeah, you got it. Go ahead.
This is the point I'm making. Mm-hmm. Because, like you said about that prostitution thing, our child goes to be trained. And she says, I want to become the greatest. Mom says, I want you to be the greatest. Or dad said, I want you to be the greatest. But that coach, listen, everybody has some level of the spirit of discernment in them. You can look at somebody and tell if they are creep or not. You can't tell me that you don't see it and you ain't blind. And even if you are blind, you ain't blind. You can still see if somebody is a creep or not because you can feel what's in there.
The energy.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
He says, hey, you okay? He says, I can get your child to the next level. But the creep, and it don't have to be just a man, it's women creep coaches too.
Oh, yeah.
Says, I can get your child to the next level, but what are you willing to do for it? Back to where I says women, 80% of women use sex as to control.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, tell you what, I can guarantee they can get to the Olympics next year, but I want something in return. And that something in return is going to come two ways. Either financial or sexual.
Or your child's innocence.
Yep.
It's going to come one of two ways. Now, this is the problem that I'm getting ready to, and this is back to our culture thing. Why is it okay for the women to claim rape when they was the one to put it on the table, but because they couldn't get the position or the financial gain that they wanted, it's okay to send an innocent dude to jail for 100 million years?
Well, I can tell you this. I'm going to pass the baton. Here's the thing. This is where women are stupid. A man knows what category you gonna fall in before you know. He automatically knows whether he gonna want you as a wife, if you just gonna be something he gonna hit and leave alone, if he just gonna use you for some time to have some fun, to cheat on whoever. Men know.
A jump off.
Right. Men know. You don't. So therefore, when it comes down to it, the problem with the statement of think like a lady, act like a man, is that one, we don't have the caliber to think like a man. Number two, a lot of men do these kind of things because men are taught to get as many notches up under their belt as possible before they settle down. Women are taught to use what they got as a weapon of control.
Use what you got to get what you want.
So because of that, you are already combining chemicals that don't mix. And because of it, what a woman does when she's hurt, she creates emotional damage. She's trying to hit a man where it hurts and to take him away from everything he loves because she just don't want to take ownership for the fact that she was not mentally stable enough to recognize that that man had no intentions for her in the long run.
And didn't make a wise decision in doing so.
Exactly. So because of that, this is where stuff like SA, rape, all of this stuff fall into the category. Because women were taught that they can cry this, and because women are already portrayed as victims, going back to the earlier statement of women being a weaker vessel.
Exactly.
They get away with it. And for a woman, it's quote unquote the best revenge because it goes back to what Superman's daddy said about, well, if I can't have you, nobody can.
Exactly.
Well, that's
even if it means I'm going to ruin your potential career, no matter what that may be, whether that may be you playing major league sports or you becoming an attorney or whatever. If there's some kind of way that I can mess that up for you?
Because if I can't get access to your money, if I can't control it, if you put me in a jump off category, knowing my emotions, going back to being emotionally unstable, wanted more, this becomes the problem. The issue comes down into, if you just want to be honest, neither sex was taught properly on emotional control.
Exactly.
And
learning how to regulate your emotions.
Exactly. And because of that, there are men in prison that don't deserve to be there. Let's just throw out this example. Emmett Till.
Yes.
And that woman walking around now claiming she lied about it, but no consequences have been brought upon her.
But she did now.
Huh?
She's dead now.
Yeah, she passed away. Yeah.
Oh, when that happened?
But it's been
I want to say about 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah. But the bottom line is, of course, it wasn't until the end that she actually admitted that he did no wrongdoing. But what consequences did she suffer as a result? And see, to me, I feel that a lot of this stuff that's going on these days, and I'm getting ready to strike a nerve with some folks, and y'all can be mad at me if you want to, but especially females having babies and stuff and being with a guy only for that man to find out that that child is not his after all of those years or what have you. Yeah, if they were actually had to suffer some kind of consequences, face some kind of retribution, I promise you that these numbers would dwindle down so quickly it would make your head spin.
Oh yeah, because a lot of women cannot take what they dish out.
Nope.
And to be
frank, not at all.
If they have to suffer that's like, I will give you guys an example going back into earlier. There was a video of a young lady who applied for an apartment. Going back to women being unstable emotionally and causing trauma for their children. She applied for an apartment, got denied for it because of a gas bill that she didn't know was in her name. She called her mother, back to what Superman's daddy said, the 9 months I carried you and all this other crazy crap. She gave her mother not 1, not 2, but 3 years to pay this off. Mom still ain't did it. Now she's suing her mama and the whole family thinks she wrong.
But that's your mama.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but what is it?
What'd you say, grown man?
No, I said that's similar to a video that went viral. I'm unsure if it was a skit or not, but the woman pressed charges against her mother for using her credit.
Yeah.
And the mother was, I would say, she was the grand marshal of gaslighting, because throughout the whole thing, she gaslit this woman. About, well, what about your family? How dare you call the authorities on me? Or, it was your father's fault. Not saying, well, you know what? I apologize. I was wrong for this. I'm going to take accountability for this.
No. See, and therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem, because so many people figure because of a certain title or whatever relationship they have to you that they automatically get a pass, which means they're supposed to be upheld in whatever wrongdoing that they choose to participate in. No, wrong is wrong all day, every day. Okay? And I'm the type of person, I like to be objective, but my thing is, if you're wrong, I'm gonna call you on it. And if you can get mad at me if you want to, that's perfectly fine. I don't have an issue with that. But what I'm not gonna do is uphold you in some foolishness when you knew full well what you were doing before you did it. And then it would be some potential, fallout or whatever the case may be. And now you expect me to back you up because I'm your cousin or I'm your sister or no, that's not how that goes. Yeah. Because trust me, if the shoe were on the other foot, man, I wouldn't be able to turn around in a circle 3 times without, some kind of crap storm befalling me. So no.
Come on. Here. And that's what that's what I mean when I say privilege. My
entitlement.
Yes, my thing is this. I didn't have a choice. But once I became of legal age, I have all choices. Mm-hmm. And if that means that you have done something to disrupt my peace of mind, my credit, my whatever, believe you me, it's gonna be some get back. Because
see here, go ahead.
Because there is a nice little situation now where people have amnesia.
Yeah, that's what Negroesia.
Because
I find it funny they forget.
They don't have amnesia. They have selective memory.
Oh, believe me. On this count, it's quote unquote amnesia. Because I want to know how you don't remember using somebody else's social security number on your bankruptcy.
I still can't. Yeah.
And
that keeps coming up.
That happens to keep coming up every time this person applies for housing.
Oh.
Every time.
Can I please? Can I jump in on this one?
Yeah.
You know why that is? Because said individual that did that used that individual's social security number, remember, we stated this earlier, form of control. You are not about to obtain something and be able to call it your own. And that individual or those individuals not be included.
It gets deeper. It was also stated that I don't know why. Well, listen, if you need me to explain, just tell them you ain't got nothing to do with it. Here's the problem. It keeps coming up. No matter where you go, no matter who you talk to, you can go apply right now. Matter of fact, have applied. And the first thing that comes up is another person bankruptcy.
Question: when was said bankruptcy filed?
About.
Let's say, I don't know. I'm gonna pick something out the air and say roughly 5 years ago.
5 to 7 years, but typically I want to say 5 to 7, but more so 7 to 10.
Yes,
after that final year, that's when it falls off. So unfortunately, unless, dare I say, you come up with a crap load of money to try to dispute that or whatever the case may be, you're going to have to wait. Whoever that is going to have to wait for that to fall off.
You're right. They're going to have to wait. And
ask me how I know.
Oh, I believe it. The individual that we're speaking about is not happy because it was unknown to them that they were a pawn in such activity.
Now,
I'm quite sure.
Oh yeah, and the thing about it is again, this is what I mean. Ultimately, because we're over time. But as we get ready to wrap up part 1 of Secrets Revealed. We covered a lot in this hour. We really have. And what I'm hoping is that we were able to educate some of our community. And here's what I say. Your children are not your meal ticket.
Although some people believe they are.
Your children, and I will say it again, your children are not your meal ticket.
You can't tell them that.
They did not ask to be here. You made an adult decision. And you made the decision to bring them in this world. They owe you nothing.
Oh, allow me to interject one last point to kind of like bring this together. Say it with me. Jealousy.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Jealousy.
I've seen a lot of mothers jealous of any of their daughters.
Yeah.
And to me, the reason why I say jealousy, because I know we got to wrap this up. The reason why I say jealousy is that, okay, first and foremost, when it getting back to the whole credit thing or whatever, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You messed your stuff up.
Right.
Now, rather than just take your lumps like the adult that you claim to be, what you choose to do is you choose to mess up your child's stuff, because more or less like your thing is, well, if you can't have anything or whatever, they're not going to have anything either.
Or the opposite of it is, well, they're still young. They can recover from it better than I can.
But my thing is, why should I have to pay for your mistakes?
Oh, I think I can answer that. I think grown man just said it right there. Jealousy has no age limit.
Oh, no.
True. But see, look at it like this. Here's my issue with that. Because it said jealousy, and because, oh, my child can recover from this or whatever. But wait a minute. If my stuff is messed up and everything like that, and I can't get a house and stuff like that, and you end up losing yours, who you looking to take care of you when you can't take care of yourself anymore? Where we supposed to both be in the nursing home?
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, I'm just asking the question here, you know.
Oh,
And you fool around and mess my credit up, I can't get a home, or whatever the case may be. Now we both stuck out here.
oh my Lord.
No, wait, that's like you're going to be sitting back waiting for me to find a good man to settle down and get married so then you can move all your crap in our house. Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. My personal favorite, the
Don't
line,
try to kill me.
the line that I heard, well, I thought I was gaining a daughter, not losing a son. What?
Yeah, okay.
Like, with all due respect, with all due respect, ma'am, the last time I checked the temperature on my sexuality a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not marry into a polynomious relationship.
But you forget.
So, but anywho, like I stated, you know, that gets me. But let's work on doing right. It's enough going on craziness in this world.
Oh, and before we wrap this up and get up out of here, just know that part 2 just gonna be just as fire, because I got a few more secrets to tell.
I'm pretty sure.
So on Secrets Revealed, this is the Gotham City crew. I'm King Solomon Jr.
I'm your girl Superman's daddy.
Mrs. Sutton in the house.
Man.
Hey, until the next time on Secrets Revealed, it's going down, baby. Ciao.